What's up, YouTube? Six shooter bringing in the Ruger LC9 9mm. Let's take a look at it and dive in. Pretty sweet gun. Got a safety on one side, so right-handers. Slide lock, and pretty decent sights. You know, decent little sight picture there for standard kind of a military. You know, 3 dots, fairly useful. They don't glow in the dark. They're not tritium, but they do work. Chamber loaded indicator pops up pretty high, but you know it doesn't get in the way or anything like that. It is quick safety check. It is hammer fired with double action only. It does have a bunch of safeties built in, so it's got a mag release safety, which is easy to pull out. If you don't like it, it's very easy to get it out of there. It just slides right out. No big, nothing fancy, and an external safety. Some quick comparisons to the LCP. Just give you some size comparisons. Obviously, the LCP is in 380. You know, a lot smaller. You know, thickness it's a little thicker. Length. You do barrel to barrel, nose to nose, that is, and height. LCP is obviously a lot shorter, but anyway, that's just to give you some ideas on comparisons. Let's talk about this gun. You know, and what I try to do in my videos is, you know, is it something you'd want to own? Is it something you want to buy? I'd say yeah. There is a lot of good things about this pistol and one very bad thing. Safeties don't bother me. You know, you carry it with the safety on, safety off, it's your choice. Mag release, sure, if you have one in the chamber and a magazine pops out, it won't work, but it's, you know, it takes 5 minutes to take it out, and it's real simple. Breakdown is fairly simple. You pull this slide down here, and there's a pin inside of there. So you pull this back just a little bit, and on this side you got a little slot in there, and you just take a little screwdriver or the tool that they give you. It's nothing special, and just or a pick or a nail, and just push it out, and it breaks down just like all the many other pistols. I've carried this. I like it. The reason why you would buy the LC9 over the LCP would be that you want a full-size 9mm, not the 9mm Kurtz, or otherwise known as a 380. It is thin. It fits really well inside the waistband. It's not very thick. That's a nice feature. The magazines. There's one with the pinky grip on it. So I'll wrap my fingers around that. You get a feel for it. The size, it's got a good weight to it. Here's one with a flat plate on it. So more, you know, you can still get 3 fingers on it and get some to hang on there, but the pinky grip does help. But that's pretty good if you don't want it to stick out. Now, as compared to the LCP, a standard magazine that's a flat plate carries 6. And that's very small and concealable, but you are limited to about 2 fingers. You can put one with a pinky grip on there, and that helps with 2 fingers. You really can't get 3, but it does give it a little kind of a catch to hold that finger on there, such as that. And they do sell a 7-round magazine that's got a little bit of extension, and it's a little thicker. But you know, you really still can't, unless you get small hands, you really still can't get 3 fingers on there. But at least that'll give you 7 in the mag. So if we compare that to a magazine with a pinky grip and put those two together, you can still see that it is still substantially shorter for the LCP, and which means both of them would carry 7 in this configuration. They also sell you can take your standard magazine. And I forgot the manufacturer, but look on eBay or something like that. But you can change out the springs and everything. They put a dual rate spring, and you actually can get 7 in a standard 6 magazine. So if capacity is something you like, you can modify your original magazine for about 22 bucks. But let's see, what's the real deal? Let's safety check one more time for both of these, both clear. Um, the worst thing about both of these Rugers is the trigger. Now this is a different Ruger. Now I have said if you buy this pistol, you've got to put this grip on here if you want to make it even remotely shootable, because it does give you the ability to grip it better. It's got some rubber padding. It'll because without it, this gun is very snappy. It's very snappy. All small 380s can be very snappy, but this really made it really manageable. Now I've got two of these. This one's stock with the exception of the grip, and it's got the stock trigger. But let's take a look at the LCP. So, there's a lot of play right there. Once again, safety check, cleared. There's a lot of play there. And the worst thing about these Rugers is the brake. It's all the way in the back. And it would really be better if it was right about here, in my opinion. And the LCP is the same way. It really breaks all the way in the back. Now, what that really means to you guys is, instead of this a natural feeling of fire, 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 you're really having to contort your hand and really pull and squeeze like this. So, defensive situation, you generally, a lot of times, you're going to grab it and your finger will go all the way through, and you've really got to really roll that finger really far back, and it's kind of awkward, because your finger was actually hit this part of the pistol, and you've got to, like I'm squeezing right here. If you can see me, I'm squeezing it, still not firing. Okay, so either got to come all the way forward and make it, where my finger's sticking like that, or really stick with the pad. And if you look at this angle here, I'm really having to really break it down to get it to break. So it's just like that. And I really wish it was a little more forward like that. Now, that's where the trick comes in. There is Galloway Precision, and this is how I've come to understand it. They used to sell kits that you could buy and put it in there, and the brake was a little further back. Obviously, they sell triggers for both of these. But apparently, from what I understand, so don't take this as true fact, but I've done enough reading that I think it's right. Apparently, they would buy, the trigger bar, make the modifications, and sell them. And apparently, they can't get those from Ruger anymore, or Ruger quit selling them, or whatever. So, if you want to have a brake that's shorter, there's a lot of videos that show people that have installed this, where the brake is a lot earlier. You have to take your trigger bar and your hammer and send it into them. They say 4 to 5 days turnaround time, and they send it back to you, and they drill another hole and put some material on the back, and that makes it break a lot earlier. Now I've got I like the idea. I think it's a sound idea, but for a concealed carry, that really kind of bugs me. And the reason why is because now these do require a deliberate long pull to make that fire. So in other words, you can't accidentally just bump it like that and it fires in your pocket, which is the highest risk that you'll have with concealed carry. LCP has no safety. This pistol does, and if you're a person that doesn't like to have a safety and you want to just fire when it's ready, just leave it off. No big deal. But if you change your configuration so that the brake is shorter, I believe that you'd be wise to carry it with the safety on and then take the safety off before you fire it. Now, at that moment, if you're having to do that, why not just get a single action pistol? Get a P238, get a P938, get something that has a very short trigger already, and or a nano. Now a nano has a longer trigger, but it's striker fired. It's a lot simpler to use. But anyway, that's my spin. I mean, I'm trying to give you information about what are the good things and bad things about this gun. The greatest things is it kind of the LCP. The sights are kind of crappy. for up front, what do they call the classic rib sticker? Yeah, yeah, just pull it out and, hey, get away from me. You're trying to, hijack my car. Yeah, up close within 4 or 5 feet, sure. Just about any pistol would work, and this would be fine. Something a little longer range, or you wanted more horsepower in your cartridge, with the 9mm, this would be great. It's really thin. It's really easy to carry. It's not that big. If I bring out my the one I really enjoy, the SR9C, I really like the SR9C. But it's a little bit bigger. It's a little thicker. It's a little longer. It is a little taller. It's just 20%, 30% all around. I really like this SR9C. It shoots wonderfully and is extremely accurate. And the trigger on here it's a striker fire trigger, and it does a great job. But tougher to carry. This is much, much easier to carry. But the thing that I would look at is go to the store and play with that. If you can train with that trigger or get used to it, then you've got a winner. If you can actually tolerate the trigger, then everything else about this gun is really fantastic. But let's see, prices. Like I said, these go for anywhere from $300 to $350 as is, and then if you put a laser on here, depending on which one, add another $80 to $120 for it. I believe these are going between $420 and $480 depending on where you live and what you do. But nice gun all around. What I'm going to try to do, and I'll maybe do a follow-up video, is I did order a trigger for it that is for a stock LC9. They do sell triggers for the LC9, and they also it's RTK or Galloway Precision. Oh, and they sell a trigger for just the LC9 stock, and then they sell some triggers for the LC9 if you've got the modified trigger bar and trigger. Make sure you don't get confused on that. And I'm hoping that a little thicker trigger right here will take that up, and plus they've got adjusters to take a lot of the slop out, and I think that'll be useful because it'll bring my finger just a little more forward. Because if I'm going to carry this, it's a concealed carry and a double action, for me, I really don't want that short break, because that means I'm going to have to carry it with the safety on, and I would, but I'd rather pull it and have it ready to go, and hopefully a little thicker trigger will take up a lot of that gap where I'm not having to pull, so far back, because if you look at the hammer and I pull this trigger, let me get the right light. If I pull the trigger back, you're like, okay, when's it going to fire? Okay, when's it going to fire? You keep pulling. When's it going to fire? When's it going to fire? When's it going to fire? And so if I do it, try to get an angle where you can see my hand on here and see both of them. So you're pulling, pulling, pulling. Okay, there it goes finally. So anyway, that's my spin on it. Like I said, great carry gun for 9mm, very thin. It's a little. I think I don't. It's kind of tough. I like the Nano a lot. I've given a review on the Nano, and if I had to choose between the Nano and LC9, it's a split. This one's a lot more comfortable. These little grooves that are cut right through here, they give it some sort of a shape for your hand. It fits a lot nicer. It's a lot more ergonomic to carry. But I like the trigger on the Nano, even though it's not the greatest, but it's good. I like the trigger much better than this LC9. So anyway, hope this is useful for you. Be safe. Have fun shooting.